And coming up next on BBC4, the boring story of Harold Whitmanson's boring day. Hello, my name is Harold, and this is a recount of what I did on, I believe it was Thursday of last week. No, it might have been Wednesday. No, I think it was Thursday because, I distinctly remember now because I don't often see aeroplanes flying past my window of my small, boring flat. But on this day, I happened to chance upon seeing one of these aircraft go past the window. But I will get to that later. I mean, that's one of the more interesting things that happened to me that day. So basically, it started out like any other normal Wednesday, in that I was woken at a fairly reasonable hour. I believe it was about 6:15 in the morning. Maybe about 6:17, I think it was. Yes, it was 6:17. I woke, looked over to my left-hand side. Next to my bed, there's a cabinet, sort of a piece of furniture. I think they called it a cabinet, yes. And on the cabinet, I noticed there's a small mirror, a shaving mirror, sort of a setup. And I know it's there most days because I put it there and I never touch it. Because since, I think it was 1967, I think it was sometime in July of 1967, I decided I was going to grow a beard. And one day the beard would get so long, it would trip me over in my old age. But anyhow, I won't digress into this story about the mirror. I'm just trying to give you a bit of background. So the mirror was on my cabinet. So I decided that I would get out of my bed. But I got out of my bed on the right-hand side, which is quite usual because that's where my slippers are. And I don't know how cold you actually think it gets in the suburbs of London, but it's rather cold at this time of year, especially on that Wednesday that we're talking about. So it might please the viewer to know that I put the slippers on my feet. The left one went on my left foot, and the right one I placed on my right foot. So I rose out of bed, I straightened out my bed sheets, I started at the bottom of the bed, worked my way slowly up to the top. So at that point I turned around and I walked towards my bedroom door leading out into the corridor. It's only a small flat, mind you. I approached the door and I walked through the door because the door was actually open. So I walked through the door frame and I looked around the corner, not with any level of surprise, of course, because I've lived here since, I think it was 1964, 3 years before I started growing a beard. And, yes, it was 1960, no, it wasn't, it was 1963, because I remember there was a song that was very popular by, I don't remember, some band, and I distinctly remember that was 1963, because 6 and 3 are my least favourite numbers. So, anyhow, I walked down the hall and decided to walk down the hall to the kitchen. Now, the kitchen is a sort of a square shape, and in there's a refrigerator, a small table, which I cut my beetroots. I have 4 knives, which is 3 more knives than my great-uncle had. He sold those knives so I could get the deposit for my flat. That was 1962, actually. 1 year before I moved in here. 4 years before I grew the beard. You know what? No, that's too interesting. I won't tell you about what I had for breakfast. Porridge, if you're curious.